Myers tuning in with a late night reading of one of my favorite books so far. I'm not live on Facebook. One moment. Thought I was. Okay. Let's do this again. All right. Peace, peace. It's your girl, Morgan Renee Myers, tuning in with you all for another late night reading of one of my books, Xenogenesis by Octavia E. Butler. Let me get my phones set up correctly. Y'all know how I be doing with all these phone setups. But yeah, so I'm gonna hop right into it. The book, I think what it was is when Octavia wrote these books, they're actually three separate books. So it's broken down into three parts. You have Dawn, then you have Adulthood Rights, and then you have Imago. And so I'm still in the first section, which is Dawn, but we're in the second part of that of that section. The first part of Dawn was called Womb, and it was introducing the characters, and this quick synopsis is basically humans was trying to commit humanicide. Some what we would probably deem and call alien creatures came in to like save them from themselves, did some experiments on some of them. They could put you to sleep. What could be a few days or a few years to us would be like multitude of years for them. So it's just an interesting dynamic. And so the main character, I can't even remember her name, she's kind of afraid of these people or how they look. They look weird. They even look more different than how they are depicted on the cover. Based on how they detail it, it's like they have they were I think they compared it to like Medusa. It looked like they have snake like tentacles coming all out of their face and ears and nose where we have sensories. Is where these tentacles come out and that's how they feel, touch, see, taste, and things like that. So I'm gonna just hop into it and we're gonna figure it out as we go along. But I do have it the first few chapters that I've been reading on my YouTube channel, Morgan Myers, with the red logo with the yellow M inside for more of mine. So y'all check that out at your leisure. I'll make sure I drop the link so you can subscribe and catch up and follow along. All right, part two, family of Xenogenesis, part one, Dawn, sleep. She barely remembered being presented to three of Jediah's relatives, then guided off and given a bed. Sleep. Then a small, confused awakening. Now food and forgetting. Food and pleasure so sharp and sweet it cleared everything else from her mind. There were whole bananas, dishes of sliced pineapple, whole figs, shelled nuts of several kinds, bread and honey, a vegetable stew filled with corn, peppers, tomatoes, potatoes, onions, mushrooms, herbs, and spices. Where had all this been? Lilith wondered. Surely they could have given her a little of this instead of keeping her for so long on a diet that made eating a chore. Could it all have been for her health, or had there been some other purpose, something to do with their damn gene trade? Let me take this cover off. Oh, it looks like I got it taped down. Okay. Let me be careful then. It's about to feel like it's about to rip through my fingers. When she had eaten some of everything, savored each new taste lovingly, she began to pay attention to the four Onkali who were with her in the small bedroom. They were Jediah and his wife, Teden. Now they be making up hella names. It's made up, so I'm probably not gonna pronounce this right. His wife Teden, Ka'ala Jediah Yatiden, Lel Kaguya Ashdenzo, and there was Jediah's Uloi mate, Kaguyayet Akatrek, Kayukatel Lel Jediah Den Ashdenzo. Yeah, that's the cool thing about being an author. You could just make shit up, literally. Finally, there was the family's Uloi child, Nikanji. The four sat atop of familiar, featureless platforms, eating earth foods from their several small dishes as though they were born to such a diet. There was a central platform with more of everything on it, and the Unkali took turns filling one another's dishes. One of them could not, it seemed, get up and fill only one dish. Others were immediately handed forward, even to Lilith. She filled Jediah's with hot stew and returned it to him, wondering when he had eaten last from the orange they had shared. "Did you eat while we were in the isolation room?" she asked him. "I had eaten before I went in," he said. "I used very little energy while I was there, so I didn't need any more food." "How long were you there?" "6 days, your time." She sat down on her platform and stared at him. "That long?" 6 days, he repeated. Your body has drifted away from your world's 24-hour day, the Uloi Kaguyit said. That happens to all your people. Your day lessens slightly and you lose track of how much time has passed. But how long did it seem to you? A few days, I don't know. Fewer than 6. You see, the Uloi asked softly. She frowned at it. It was naked, as were the others except for Jediah. This did not bother her, even at close quarters, as much as she had feared it might. But she did not like the Uloi. It was smug, and it tended to treat her condescendingly. It was also one of the creatures scheduled to bring about the destruction of what was left of humanity. And in spite of Jediah's claim that the Onkali were not hierarchical, the Uloi seemed to be the head of the house. Everyone deferred to it. It was almost exactly Lila's size, slightly larger than Jediah, and considerably smaller than the female Tegan. And it had 4 arms, or 2 arms and 2 arm-sized tentacles. The big tentacles, gray and rough, reminded her of elephants' trunks, except that she could not recall ever being disgusted by the trunk of an elephant. At least the child did not have them yet, though Jediah had assured her that it was an Ulor child. Looking at Kagayat, she took pleasure in the knowing that the Unkali themselves used the neuter pronoun in referring to the Uloi. Some things deserve to be called it. She turned her attention back to the food. How can you eat all this? She asked. I couldn't eat your foods, could I? What do you think you've eaten each time we've awakened you? The Uloi asked. I don't know, she said coldly. No one would tell me what it was. Kagayat missed or ignored the anger in her voice. It was one of our foods, slightly altered to meet your special needs, it said. Thought of her special needs made her realize that this might be Jediah's relative who had cured her cancer. She had somehow not thought of this until now. She got up and filled one of her small bowls with nuts, roasted but not salted, and wondered wearily whether she had to be grateful to Kagayat. Automatically, she filled with the same nuts the bowl Tadin had thrust forward at her. Is any of your food poison to you? She asked flatly. No, Kagaya answered. We have adjusted to the foods of your world. Are any of yours poison to me? Yes, a great deal of it. You shouldn't eat anything unfamiliar that you find here. That doesn't make sense. Why should you be able to come from so far away, another world, another star system, and eat our food? Haven't we had time to learn to eat your food? The Uloi asked. What? It did not repeat the question. Look, she said, how can you learn to eat something that's poison to you? By studying teachers to whom it isn't poison. By studying your people, Lila, your bodies. I don't understand. Then accept the evidence of your eyes. We can eat anything you can. It's enough that you understand that. Patronizing bastard, she thought. But she only said, does that mean that you can learn to eat anything at all? That you can't be poisoned? No, I didn't mean that. She waited, chewing nuts, thinking. When the Uloi did not continue, she looked at it. It was focused on her, had tentacles pointing. The very old can be poisoned, it said. Their actions are slow. They might not be able to recognize an unexpected deadly substance and remember how to neutralize it in time. The seriously injured can be poisoned. Their bodies are distracted, busy with self-repair, and the children can be poisoned if they have not yet learned to protect themselves. You mean just about anything might poison you if you weren't somehow prepared for it, ready to protect yourselves against it? Not just anything, very things, really. Things we were especially vulnerable to before we left our original homeworld. Like what? Why do you ask, Lila? What would you do if I told you? Poison a child? She chewed and swallowed several peanuts, all the while staring at the Uloi and making no effort to conceal her dislike. You invited me to ask, she said. No, that isn't what I was doing. Do you really imagine I'd hurt a child? No, you just haven't learned yet not to ask dangerous questions. Why did you tell me as much as you did? The Uloi relaxed his tentacles. Because we know you, Lilith, and within reason, we want you to know us. Okay. I'm going to end right there. I'll come back and do the other one another time. All right. Peace.